2 Timothy 2:2 says, "These things you've heard from me among many witnesses. Commit them to faithful people who will be able to teach others also." You know, that's really our heart and our desire. That's to minister to one another. That you and I, when we would come together, that you would share what you know about what it means to be a follower of Christ, and that I would do the same thing. And that as we share with one another, we would be challenged and encouraged to become more like Christ. Then we would go out from one another and teach other people to do that. That's really the nature of ministry. Inside our churches, we're not getting together just one-on-one though. We're bringing together a larger group of people, even if it's a small group of people, just 5 or 10, even as many as 3 or 4, there are still some details that have to be done. You have to make some very simple decisions. Where are we going to meet? When are we going to meet? What are we going to do while we're there? Who's in charge? The important decision, who's bringing the food? Who's taking care of the kids? You see, in churches, we have meetings like that all the time, and it's easy to confuse the idea that ministry and meetings are the same thing. You see, we meet for worship on Sunday mornings. We meet for Sunday school. We meet to go to camp, and we meet to go to discipleship training. Sometimes we meet in our homes for in-home Bible studies. You see, there's nothing inherently wrong with the meetings. There's nothing inherently wrong with the details. Those are actually very necessary if we're going to get together as a group of people for the purpose of ministry. It becomes important then for us to recognize something. An event, a meeting that we have, becomes this moment in time where ministry can take place. So let's get the details of our events right. Let's remove the distraction of the details of those mundane things like when, where, why, and how, and let's spend our time during those meetings focused on what it means to be that 2 Timothy 2:2 person who's encouraging and challenging people to become more Christ-like. There's a life cycle to an event. There's a right way and a wrong way for us to approach ministry in the life of the events that we plan and participate in. Let me show you what it is. It starts very simply. Somebody has an idea. Think of the idea as the wouldn't it be cool if. Wouldn't it be cool if we all got together and went to the same movie at the same time? Wouldn't it be cool if we all got together and had this Bible study at John's house? It's an idea. We need to talk about Revelation, so let's get together and do that. When are we going to do that? Where are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Somebody has an idea, and suddenly momentum begins to build. It's like a wave behind the idea. Our intent is ministry, but this idea has sparked this moment in time that will eventually become an event. Now see, there's a process for how we get here. The idea happens and the idea begins to develop. It's during this development stage that you're telling people about your idea. You're telling people about your event. You're inviting people to come. You're bringing in your leadership team and asking people to serve with you. You're doing the details. You're working the details of the where, when, why, how, and who. You develop all of that during this development stage, and then the event happens. But notice, in the wave, that two-thirds of the process have yet to be accomplished. You see, that's because ministry takes place through the entire process. The event is simply a snapshot in time where ministry can take place, where ministry happens. And so ministry is happening throughout the entire process. The event is that focused moment, that stadium where ministry happens. So you have the idea develops, the event takes place, but there's some things to do after the event that are important. You need to evaluate. Was this a good event? Were we successful? Did we accomplish our purpose? What needs to be better next year? Are we going to do this event again? And if we are, how can we improve it next time? Can we throw out the bad stuff? Can we maximize the good stuff so that the next time we do this, the event is even better? We need to evaluate it. You need to ask your volunteers, ask people who participated, and part of that process is the follow-up. There may be people who participated in your event who need to know more about Christ. Maybe they need to know more about your church. Maybe you need to follow up with them for the purpose of being able to share the gospel with them, or simply to invite them to come back to the next event or the next ministry opportunity that you have. That's all part of the evaluation process. It starts with an idea, develops into the event itself, which is just one moment, one snapshot in time, and then you evaluate and follow up from that. Now, the next stage is very important, but we skip it so often, and we shouldn't. After we've evaluated and followed up, we need to celebrate. God, during this process and in this time, has done some incredible things in your life and in the lives of the people who participated. We need to take some time to celebrate and praise God for a great opportunity we've had all together. We need to take time to say thank you to the volunteers who made that event possible. We need to take time to tell the stories of what God did during that event in your life and in the lives of other people. It's a time to celebrate and praise God and say thank you to Him. But the event's not over yet. The process is not complete yet, because after we celebrate, there's something else that needs to happen. We need to rest and recover. Sometimes the most godly thing you can do is rest. Remember in the story of Elijah, God wasn't in the activity, God was in the still, small voice. So in this process, as the idea develops, the event happens, we evaluate and we follow up. Too often our temptation is to jump into the next big thing because we've got to make ministry keep going. Let me encourage you, take time to rest and recover. Take time to listen for that still small voice, because here's how God works. Inside that rest and recovery period, using that still small voice, He will build into you a holy discontent. There will be something you see, something you hear, something you feel that is God inside you saying, I can't stand this anymore. I've got to do something about it. Let's pull the troops together. Let's all get together and let's fix this. Let's get together and find the answer. Let's get together and meet this need. It becomes a holy discontent inside you, and God uses that holy discontent to build into you dreams. He builds into you dreams and desires and opportunities and possibilities. That holy discontent becomes a dream that eventually becomes, guess what? An idea. And the process starts all over again. So often in our churches, so often in our lives, we spend our lives going from one event to the next, never recognizing that this process is in place. Ministry doesn't take place just here. Ministry takes place all along this wave. And as we move through this, we've got to move through each stage and recognize that ministry are those moments that happen inside this process. We need to do the details of the events well so that we can remove the distraction of those details from the things we do and accomplish, really, 2 Timothy 2:2. That these things you've heard from me among many witnesses, you'd be able to commit them to faithful people who will be able to teach others also. Inside this part of the process, there are quite a few more details, and I'd like to share that with you in another session. But this is the wave. Let me challenge you and encourage you. Catch the wave. If you're a volunteer, if you're a minister, catch the wave and use this to your best advantage as you're planning those opportunities people will have to share the gospel and to minister to one another. Let's bring 2 Timothy 2:2 to life in everything we do. Catch the wave and do an event well.